Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome everyone for the All in Seconds we can start. Just a little bit. And there we are. Hello. So, first of all, let me share the link to register for this workshop. I say it's a workshop, it's more of helping you get started with GitHub Copilot. And trust me, at the end of the session, you'll find it's so much easy to get started. Let me reduce the volume a bit more. There's some music in the background, but at the same time, you can hear me out. And welcome to the GitHub Copilot session, which we call Making Better Hacks Faster with GitHub Copilot. And in this session, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about what is GitHub Copilot, how can you sign up for it. As a student, I would say you always have an edge over people like me who are not a student. But yeah, we'll talk more about it. We'll also see how can GitHub Copilot help us. We have a project here in MLH that I will show you how Copilot will help us to resolve bugs, add features, and do so much more. So that is what all this session is going to be about. I've shared the link to register for this workshop in the chat. So please register. Also, let me do a very quick announcement so that if anyone is missing out, they can join. We are live at perfect. So we'll wait for let's say just 10 more seconds and then we can get started. Okay, I think there should be enough gap here. And now let's move on. So, who am I? My name is Utkarsh Tiwari. I prefer to go by my initials, UT. So, you'll find my Discord would be UT from MLH. Uh, I don't mind any name, but would prefer UT if that's all right with everyone here. I am a coach at Major League Hacking, MLH, Major League Hacking. I use he, him pronouns. And so, what are we going to do? As I said, we are going to use GitHub Copilot, which in itself is such an amazing tool. It's so much amazing that I actually paid for a subscription for it. Helps me do things faster. I'll also give you another insight. My company recently onboarded GitHub Copilot just so that the developer experience would be nicer and you can ship out features, you can ship out websites, softwares, anything and everything faster. Okay. So, what is GitHub Copilot and why would you use it? This is what we are going to talk about. Then we are going to talk about how to set it up. So, we are going to start with Visual Studio Code, another offering from Microsoft/GitHub in a way, and the GitHub Copilot extension. And then we are going to talk about how to use it. We'll we'll make use of the interactive tutorial project that we have to just gain insights about some of the features of GitHub Copilot. Now, what is GitHub Copilot? Now, it's an AI pair programmer that can help you write, debug, and understand code. The best part is we encourage you to use it in this hackathon so that you can, again, make your better hacks faster with GitHub Copilot. Now, there are some prompts that you can see on the screen, but we'll get into more details of it when we actually use it. But for now, you can ask it like, can you create a new button component? And it will try and give you an answer for it. And you have the ability and the choice to either accept that or discard that. Okay. Slash fix. There is a some error in my code. This my var variable is undefined. Can you please fix that for me? It will try and understand your code for you and try and give you solutions to it. Okay. Then why should you use it? Number one, 55% faster coding. So you can actually get more time to add more features to your code. The hack that you make today, maybe you want to add 10 different features, but because of time constraints and because you have to spend too much time debugging, you are maybe able to add only 5. You can actually take that 5 and increase it to 8 or 9 if you're using GitHub Copilot. So there is a very nice survey here that is outlined, and it says that when using GitHub Copilot, you're more productive. 80%, 88% of the people said that they perceive it that they are more productive. It is less frustrating while coding, and they feel more focused on the work. They feel more focused that the work they're doing is more satisfying. Helps you with faster completion. Repetitive tasks, it becomes so much easy. More in the flow, less time searching for answers. So, like, just imagine Stack Overflow, but you don't have to search it. GitHub Copilot does it for you. And less mental effort, definitely, on the repetitive tasks that you need to do sometimes. In all, literally no downsides, right? So that is GitHub Copilot. So 24 frustrating hours just turn into 37 hours in flow if you start using GitHub Copilot. You're like, oh man, what's happening here? I'm able to do it faster. I will do it faster. This is done. This is done. This is done. So much easy, right? Now let's move towards the meatier part of this session, which is setting up GitHub Copilot. Now, GitHub Copilot lives where you write code. Now, which text editor is the best one? There's a very nice comic right here. And I don't want Vim versus non-Vim slash nano or NeoVim or Emacs or any other conversation right here. Why? Because we are going to use something with which GitHub Copilot actually interacts with so many, but I would say the one with which it interacts the best and gives us kind of the best performance is Visual Studio Code. Okay, so we are actually going to focus on Visual Studio Code. Yeah, Vim is the best. Okay, hands on, hands up, agreed. NeoVim is the best. Agreed. JetBrains IDs are the best. Agreed. Visual Studio Code is the best. Agreed. Everything is the best. I agree. What's best is whatever helps you write code and be more productive, which in this case is GitHub Copilot. But other than that, yes, has the event started? Yes, it has. Hey, Vim is the best. I agree. I agree for everything here. Okay. And well, number one, downloading Visual Studio Code. Now I have Visual Studio Code installed as I have opened right here. Okay, I have Visual Studio Code installed. So I'm not going to install it, but you can find it on code.visualstudio. Like, let's just quickly Google search that. And there you go. You can install it from here. If you don't have Visual Studio Code, feel free to download it from the link that I have provided in the chat. Once you download it, we are going to install the Copilot extension. But before we go into that aspect, I would also want to share one quick link. So if you don't have Copilot already, and if you have seen my announcement on Discord, then you actually know where you can get the student developer pack for GitHub. The GitHub student developer pack is, I think, one of the most amazing offerings ever. When I was a student, which was not long back, frankly, but when I was a student, I used GitHub student developer pack to its fullest extent. And as soon as they started giving out Copilot as a part of that, I was just amazed. Okay. Hands down, best things ever that is offered via the developer pack. So I would say that use this link. I call it a magic link. Well, because if you're part of this hackathon and you have access to this link, it would be just very fast to get access to it. But you really need to be a student to get access to the GitHub student developer pack. Okay, the name says it all. But if you are not a student and you want to use GitHub Copilot, don't worry, it is still available. You just get 30 days free trial for it. So again, let's quickly find that GitHub Copilot 30-day trial. And I think you can find more about it right on this link. And here you can find the ways to install it. But in our case, let's actually install it while we are doing our things. So step one is to install the extension. So here is my VS Code already downloaded. You can go into this extensions sidebar, which you can see on the left, or as suggested, you can do Control Shift P or Command Shift P to open the command palette. So Command Shift P, and you can search here extensions. Okay. And there's so many suggestions here. What do we want to focus on? Install extensions, right? Let me do that again. Install extensions. Again, this is what you would want to choose. But if you don't want to go that way, on the left hand side of your VS Code, you can find the extensions. And here you just have to search for GitHub Copilot. Okay, GitHub Copilot. I have already installed it, like mine's installed. So that's why it is giving me the option of disable, uninstall, and switch to pre-release version. But if you have not installed it, as you can see on the slides, you first have to search for GitHub Copilot, which we did, and then you will see this install button. Also, let me remove myself so that you can focus more on the slides. So there's a question here for how much we're going to have access to student pack. The student pack is free for students. So does that answer your question? And if you're asking for how long will you have the access till, you have access till the time you are a student. And to prove yourself as a student, you have to upload a document. Could be a fee receipt or could be bona fide or any document which says how long is your study still. Like you will be a student till, let's say, 2025, then the document should show that. Having access to a edu email account also helps. What if you are in a program, is it also part of being a student? I would say yes. I would like to say yes, but I might be wrong in that case. So hackpack.ac/github. Let's try that out. So I am going on the website. I'm going to click on get student benefits. It's asking me to log in. Of course, two-factor authentication. Okay. I need to remove that from the screen so that no one tries to log in. Just give me a second, please. We'll try and log in quickly. Okay, perfect. Logged in. So, student, free GitHub Pro while you are a student, valuable GitHub Pack offers. And while I was a student, I had received it. Now, in this school, in this application, it says select the school. So, you really need to be a part of a school, I think. But maybe once you start applying for it, probably you can find if there is something more. Your password is safe with us. Yes, I know it's safe with you. I know it's safe with everyone, but I'm still like less trustworthy right here. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so select install, and you'll find this big install button that you can use to install it. And to activate Copilot, it is $10 per month, $100 per year. But if you are a verified student or a teacher or a maintainer of a popular open source project, it is free for you. Other than that, if you are not a student and you don't want to pay, you can go for a start a free trial, which you'll get for 30 days. Again, student developer pack, the best option out there. Okay, so please check that out. And let me share the link again. Like so many links actually right here, but all of them kind of take you to the same place, which is get access to GitHub Student Developer Pack. Now, all these hack pack links, I call them magic links because they just make your life way easier. Okay. Moving on, how to use it. So we are going to create a new project or actually clone a GitHub repository that we use here in MLH. And once we clone it, we are going to then do what the project asks us to do. Now I'm going to actually move away from the, what do you call it, the slideshow, and I'm going to share the link to the project here in chat that you can clone and work with me for it. Okay, and we are going to do it live, so bless me, but hopefully everything will work out fine. Why? Because, well, if nothing works for me, if something is not working, I can ask Copilot for it, right? So step one, we have to clone it. Now I'm going to say that the few prerequisites here are you have VS Code installed, you have access to GitHub Copilot, and thirdly, you have Git installed. Okay, but if you don't have it, it's okay. You can still watch the whole workshop. It will be available on YouTube on the MLH YouTube channel. And later on, once you have access to GitHub Copilot, once you have received access to the student developer pack, then you can come back, rewatch this, and code along. So step one, I have to clone this. I have shared the link here on the in the chat, so you can quickly check that out. And I am going to do a very simple command of git clone this thing. Okay, the MLH Copilot starter. So I've cloned it, and as you can see on the left hand side, it exists. That's nice. Perfect. That should be fine, and that works for me actually. Now the step two is requirements.txt. So if you go on to the README of the repository that I have shared, you can see the steps. So step one was git clone. Okay. Then the step two is using pip. You need to install the packages this project uses. And this is the command pip install -r requirements.txt. And this is assuming that you have Python and pip already installed. If you don't have them, you'll need to install it. And you can find the guide to it in the link that I have shared in the chat. In my case, I'll first need to move into this folder. So cd into Copilot starter. So as you can see right here, I am inside the Copilot folder. And now I need to do a pip install. So I'm going to do pip, but it also says on Mac, you may need to type pip 3 rather than pip. So let's do that. So pip 3 install, and then what was the next part? -r requirements.txt. So -r requirements.txt, hit enter and download it. Okay, so it has downloaded everything that was needed. Then the next step is to run the Flask app. You can use the following command. This uses Flask to execute code in app.py. Let's try that. So I will say Python, and then it says -m Flask run debug. So I'm going to paste that, hit enter. Oops, getting an error right here, which says Python command not found. In my case, again, since I had to do pip 3, I'll have to do Python 3 on Mac. And it started something. And it says running on this particular port. So let me copy this. And let's go here and paste that. And I see a bunch of errors. So now, what are we going to do? We are going to make use of our best friend, like my best friend right here, which is Copilot, to first understand what's happening in the code and then see how to resolve these errors that I'm getting. Okay. So let's go to our code. We first need to go inside app.py because that's the only Python file that I can see here. Okay. So inside app.py, there is something. I don't know what this is. So what am I going to do? I need to understand what's happening. So I can do Command I. When I do Command I, a chat box opens. And all I need to do is /explain. Okay. And you can see what it means. It says, explain how the code in your active editor works. So it's trying to understand that. Let's give it some time. The code app is a reference to an instance of a Flask application or any other web framework. Okay, this is what's Flask about. So normally this is how you would create a Flask application. In this instance, app is an instance of the Flask class. Okay. However, in your provided code, it's not clear what app is referring to as there is no context. It could be a Flask app, a Django app, or anything. Typically in an app, you would see something like this. In this example, app route / is a decorator that Flask uses to map a URL to a route. Okay, there's just too many things. Let me see if I can ask it to explain this code, please. Okay, much better, right? So I've asked it to explain the code. And the Python code is a simple Flask web application that returns the number of seconds since the Unix epoch, January 1, 1970. Here's a breakdown. So this is the first line, from Flask import Flask. This line imports the Flask module, which is a web framework in Python. Okay, good to know that Flask is a web framework. Nice. Import time. This line imports the time module. So then the time library. App equals to Flask something, Flask __name. This line creates a new Flask web server. Okay. Def seconds since epoch. This function returns the number of seconds since the Unix epoch. Okay. So number of seconds since Unix epoch. So since January 1st, 1970, it's going to return me how many seconds have passed. Okay. Epoch equals to time dot time. This line gets the current time in seconds since the epoch. Return int. This line returns the time since the epoch as an integer. This line is a decorator. So it is going to home page, home route, slash route. Def seconds, this function is linked to the above URL route and will be run when the root URL is accessed. And return seconds since epoch. This line returns the result of seconds since epoch function when the root URL is accessed. This will be a response from the web server. Okay, good to know. And this definitely helps. I now know what the code is about and what it is supposed to return. Nice. Let me just increase the terminal size here. So now once we have ran the code, we know that it is giving an error, right? So we know what the code is supposed to do, and we know that it is giving an error. So now let's try and fix this, okay? So again, I would do command I, and I would say slash fix. So it says, to solve the problem, I would add a missing import statement from the time module inside the selected code block. So time module, we already have imported time. So I don't think that's the problem, right? So what else? Let's actually understand what's happening here. So it says the view function did not provide a valid response. The return time must be a string dict list tuple something something something. Okay, so we are not too sure what's happening right here. So we can do another thing. Since the error is happening when I'm going on the app route slash, then in that case, something here is causing the problem. So let me select this part and then ask it to fix. Okay, it's still telling me that you should actually get this done. Okay, I don't think that's helping again. What else can I do? What is the error? It says type error. The view function did not return a valid response. Okay, let me copy this whole thing. Let's go back. Select these two things. Command I, and let's tell it fix. Okay, let's try that and then give it. Some reason mine gets stuck on the time. Okay, though till now it should have given me the answer. Okay, so it's telling me that seconds since epoch. Okay, that's not the problem. Let me try out on this part, the route part. Oops, command I. It's command I. And let's ask it to fix and also give this error. It's telling me, okay, can you try and give that type error in like return that string? Let's try that. So I've done that. Is this the perfect answer? We don't know. Let's try it out. Well, it seems to me it is. It is giving me an answer right here. Oh, sorry. I just saw the chat. So yeah, Shamari pointed it out that you should give it the error. So that's what I did. We debugged it together. So step one, it was telling me to import time, but it was already imported. So I knew that that's not the problem. I knew that the problem is coming when I'm going into app route. So I tried to select that and ask it to fix it, but it didn't have any context behind. So then what we did was we went to the error, copied the error, came back, selected the two functions, and asked it to fix it. It had given an answer actually in a way, though I was not able to accept that answer because I was like, no, that can be correct. And I gave it the error itself. And it still said that please go back and add this return statement. So I would say Copilot was pretty adamant about it, and Copilot knew what was the error and it fixed it. Nice. So that so it says that it has been 1714226358 seconds, and that's increasing like 35, 36. If I reload it, every second it's increasing. So time since epoch has increased, seconds since epoch. That is good. That's right? So once we have that, convert the integer to a string. Okay. Once we have that, our error has been fixed. And now, to me, it looks like it's working perfectly fine. Oh, if it's too small, let me just increase the size of this. Perfect, right? So we have learned how to fix an error. We tried two approaches here. We first tried to select it and we just asked it to fix somewhere random, and it gave an answer which we kind of understood was not correct. Then we tried to select something, ask it for an answer, and it actually gave a correct answer. But then we also tried the third way, which was to select something and provided the error, explicitly error. And it actually kind of helped us out. It told us that there's a problem in your previous function, okay, which was this one. And we actually accepted the answer. So let's do like some Command Z right here. And let's like break it again. Let's select this, Command I / fix, and just give it the error. And it said, convert the integer to a string. You accept that, go back, and it works. Nice. So let's move on. So the next part that we are going to do is to add something. Okay. We are going to add a route that should show the number of hours that has passed since epoch. Okay. So this was the number of seconds since epoch. Now I also need a new route or a new function which says how many hours have passed since epoch. Okay. Now I'm going to ask it to create a new route. So let's do that. We do a Control I or Command I, or you can also do Command Shift P and open the chat function. Okay. Like multiple options there. So Command I, and I will say add a route to calculate hours since the epoch. And there we go. It's giving us an answer. And we have not accepted this answer yet. So first let's quickly read it. app.route/hours. Okay. So we will go to /hours route. Define the hours, epoch, time.time, hour since epoch is epochs divided by 3600, and return string of int of this. I'm going to accept this answer for now. And there's just one quick problem. It's pasted it somewhere random, so I have to ask it again. Add a route that shows hours since the epoch. So I'm asking it to generate again because it had kind of added it inside the seconds, which I didn't want. So that's it. Okay, I've accepted it. I'll need to, I think, cut paste it right here. Okay, so on line number 15, just right here, it has added a new route, def hours, epoch, and hours, epoch divided by 3600, converts seconds to hours, Well, I think those should be correct because in 1 minute there's 60 seconds, and in a 1 hour there are 60 minutes. So 6 and 60 into 60, 3600. Yeah, sounds about right to me. Okay. Hmm. Now let's see if we can go and check for slash r's route, and it says it has been 476174. Okay, does that sound about right? Hmm, I would say yeah. In a way, yes. That sounds about right. Okay, perfect. Can we ask now? There's also another thing. Now that Copilot understands what's happening in this code, you can actually start by like adding something. Like I just added a at the rate, and it's suggesting me app.route/minutes. Why? Because it understood that you are calculating seconds, you are calculating hours. So the next best thing that you might want to calculate is slash minutes. So I'm going to actually let Copilot give me answer to this. So it's suggesting me things, and I'm just pressing tab. Okay, it has calculated slash minutes. Let me see. If I go to my code, my web server, and type slash minutes, it has been these many minutes. Again, sounds about right. Okay, so it helped me create the hours route, the minutes route. Okay, and for this one, I actually only added like an at the rate. And now it's also giving me more suggestions. Do you want to calculate the number of days? Days. Okay, perfect. I don't know if this is correct or not, but we can check it. It has been 19840 days. Wow, that is nice. What about number of years? Do you think that would be there? Number of weeks? So many other possibilities, right? So that is, I think, one of the most amazing things that you could do with Copilot. Okay. Now, in this case, it's telling me to calculate weeks, but I want to calculate the number of years. Okay, slash years. So it's telling me time.time, epoch divided by this much, this. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I can do very quick thing here. It's telling me it's been 54 years. I know that epoch calculation started in 1970, right? So 1970 plus 54, 2024. Well, that sounds about right. Okay, we are in 2024. So number of years is perfectly calculated. So whatever answer that you got from Copilot, we can actually validate it in a way, right? So slash years, and then it is suggesting me something. I am not too sure if I want to go on that path, but that is Copilot for you. We solved an error. We added a route by asking it to add a route, and then we started accepting its hints, and even that was helpful. What else can you try? Like we have fixed issues, we have written code, it also suggests a code. And that is, I think, amazing part. And we also saw that if it was suggesting slash weeks, I said no, I want the number of years. It understood and it gave me code for that. Now it's telling me, oh, do you want number of months as well? Well, let's try that out. Okay, that seems right in a way. I can just check. There are 54 years since then, and each year has 12 months. So 648 months. But then there should have been some leap years in between where, well, no, that changes the number of days. So what's happening right here? Is it like wrong here? Oh no, we are 4 months in, right? Yeah, 48 plus 4, 52. Yeah, sounds about right. Wow. Well, it made me doubt my own calculations, but Copilot was correct right here. So that is Copilot for you. Helps us a lot. So we actually saw all of this. Okay, we fixed the errors, we paired with it. Okay, we started creating routes, and it made me doubt my calculations, but Copilot was correct in this case. Right. So now let me come back. Oh, that is too big. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I'm not bigger than Copilot right here. So we did so much more. Add 3 because it's April. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I did. Like I was like 648. Then I was like, oh, we are 4 months into 2024, so that's why 52. So that is Copilot for you. Now remember, Copilot makes errors. It was making error at the start of this workshop when we started coding with it. It was like import time. But we knew that we had already imported time before. Okay, so it can make errors and it can write bad code. In this case, it has written one very bad code, which is that it's calculating the epoch again and again and again. But we know there is this function that it could have used. This seconds since epoch already calculates the epoch time, right? So it has kind of tried to duplicate a line of code for which we already have a function, right? So it can sometimes write bad code and it will not understand every time what you want it to do. Like maybe, just maybe, we want it to calculate how many fortnights it has been. And it would be like, I'm not too sure how to calculate that. Or maybe we want it to calculate how many, I don't know, leap years it has been since then. And maybe, just maybe, it could go wrong. So it is quite possible that uh, it will not give you perfect answer every time, but 95% of times, 98% of times, maybe just a random number that I'm throwing, but we saw it actually happening, is it will give you correct answers. So the code samples that Copilot uses underneath, they are updated constantly, but it is not so fast that it will know the next best library that's out there. So maybe tomorrow, the API of, maybe, like, let's say if Discord had an API, tomorrow they decided to change it, Copilot will not know that it has changed, and it will still suggest you answers based on the older API versions. And it is possible, okay, it's quite possible that that will happen. So while you can get the code from Copilot, you still need to do your due diligence. Okay, so please understand the code it produces. As I understood for the first line, please understand what's happening and why it's happening, and then accept the answer. Okay, cross verify sometimes, like I did for the year and the number of months and the number of weeks. No, not for weeks, just for years and months. uh, so cross verify it if possible for you to do it. See what the output is looking like when you accept a piece of code. Is it working fine? Is it working correctly? And based on that, you can make your own decisions. So you are a hacker and you will do great in that aspect. Okay. And that is all. Sorry, that's all about Copilot. Now add Copilot to your team. Okay. So think of it as an extra member in the hackathon who's not counted, but it's still there on your side. Ask it to help you out with your code. And there are these additional resources like Hackpack slash Copilot Guide, which talks about how to set up and navigate through Copilot. There's the Hackpack slash Copilot examples, where you can see how Copilot can help with your work, and Copilot config, how to configure GitHub Copilot to your personal preferences. And that's about it. Okay. So that is the end of the workshop. Any questions, anyone? And while you are typing questions, let me ask Copilot if it can use this seconds since epoch. Oh, sorry, use the seconds since epoch function instead of uh, calculate calculating epoch time in every function. Let me see if that works. So, okay, so inside the years, it is telling me int seconds since epoch divided by this number. Okay, I think that sounds about right. So let's quickly check this out. Slash years 54. So the answer still remains the same, and now it's using this second since epoch. So you can tell it to kind of modify its own code depending on, well, there is some previous code that was written. Okay, so you can do that for everything, or you can do command shift I and then click on chat. No, command shift P, and then chat, open quick chat, and ask it to do this, chat with it for the whole of it, like for the whole file in a way. And now you can see that it's using epoch seconds equals to seconds since epoch. Okay, so when that works out. So yep, that is the workshop. Any questions, anyone? Anything about the things that we discussed today? I will share the links that we talked about and that we discussed on the last page of these slides in the Discord chat. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to take a screenshot or anything. Okay, any other thing for anyone? Any questions? If there are none, I think we are good to go. Uh, all the best, everyone, for the hackathon. At any point you have any question, like maybe right now you don't have access to Copilot, but maybe later on during the time of this hackathon, and even after sometimes, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the MLHR. Just tag @active MLHRs, and that will be around to help you. So there is this quick request. Would it be helpful to if you showed fix using Copilot? I'm not too sure if I understand it, but are you asking about fixing an error using Copilot? If yes, then I could do one quick thing here. Let's go to the number of years, okay? And let me delete this. And I'm going to say just time, okay? Not even time. Actually, I'm going to say that instead of this particular thing, it is 60. And this is going to give me a wrong answer, right? Wrong answer for sure. So I'm going to select this part. I'm going to say fix, /fix the calculation for years function. And let's hit enter. To fix the calculation for years, I would divide the epoch by the number of seconds in a year, which is this, instead of 60, and then convert the result to an integer and return it as a string. Sounds about right. Okay. So as you can see, it kind of fixed the error that we had in our calculation for number of years. Let's do it one more time. Let's say we have this, and I'm going to ask it again. So command I /fix the cal. okay, doesn't it show a yellow light bulb anymore when there's an error in the code? I think that actually is more on the side of like this import problem. It thinks there's an import problem, and then it gives this uh, yellow bulb. Okay, so like right now I have Flask installed, but for some reason it's giving me that error. So yeah, okay, even that's a good way. If sometimes you have something like there's something not available, like let's say I remove the time, okay, the time module, then the whole code is going to break, and it says name error, name time not defined. Okay, that's the error that I'm getting. So now if I go back to my code and if I hover over time, okay, then it gives me two options: view the problem and quick fix. If I do view the problem, it tells me the time is not defined. And if I hover over it again and do the quick fix, it says add the import time, add from date time, import time, and these many things. And it also says fix using Copilot and explain using Copilot. Let's go for fix using Copilot, and says slash fix time is not defined. It says for to fix this issue, I would import the time module. Accept that answer, go back. I mean, sorry, our number of years was wrong. Uh, but let's go for like let's say number of months, and that's how you can fix it. So yes, the yellow bulb option is when you like let's say have some issue, and it VS Code gives you this yellow squiggly lines. If you hover over it, you get that quick fix options, and you can ask it fix using Copilot. To solve this problem, you will need to install the Flask package. Sometimes it's wrong, and this is the time where it's wrong in a way, because it's asking me to install Flask, but I've already installed it. So not exactly that error. So I can ask it to ignore it, and even that fixes it. Also, I was going to show you this one quick thing, slash fix, fix the calculation for years and use seconds since epoch. Yeah, not like that. Fix the calculation for years and use seconds since epoch function as well. Okay, let's see if that gives a proper answer. And it's saying that to fix it, you should use second since epoch function. I would update the code block as follows. If I hit on accept, I don't see it using the seconds since epoch, right? So the best way in this case would be to select everything and then ask it to like fix it for you. And another question, is it possible to show how you installed it? And is it being recorded? Yeah, Shamari answered that. Thank you so much for that. Yes, you can see it on YouTube and it is recorded, but I can quickly show it to you again. You go into the extensions tab, which is on this left-hand side, and you search for GitHub Copilot, which you'll get here, and you should see a install button here. Once you install it, then you will see these versions. So you can quickly show that to you. Yep, this is how it will look like. You can click on this install button and install it. Okay, perfect. So this has been an amazing session, everyone. Thank you so much. Love the questions and love that we were able to solve the errors. And thanks to Copilot, actually, my invisible teammate right here, which helped us so much, right? So that's all, everyone. And if there are no further questions, I would like to end the stream, but I'll be available for the duration of today and tomorrow. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate the words. Thanks, everyone. See you. Bye bye.